Back. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to the beginning of a new week. And we are almost to the beginning of a new month in our businesses and in our lives. And I feel like, we're getting to the end of 2021. I mean, I know we are getting to the end of 2021. And it's really time to start thinking about what 2022 starts to look like in our lives, in our businesses. And that is exactly why I am chatting today with Sahara. And we're going to be talking about what is travel coaching? What does it mean? What is it? And, talk about the whole travel business world. So, there is some really cool stuff that Sahara is doing. I feel like you're like on the bleeding edge of stuff, which is so cool. I love being on the leading edge. I love talking to people who are on the leading edge and who are thought leaders in their industry. So welcome, Sahara. Happy to have you here.
Hi, Haley. Thank you so much for having me. And hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here today and talk to all of you about travel coaching and travel in general. Who doesn't like to talk about travel, right? Especially now that we're more and more able to go places and see things and do things
Mhm.
after a past year and a half like we've had. So this is exciting.
This is a really exciting time, and it's an exciting time to be a travel coach. So tell me a little bit about what it is exactly that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do a couple different things. So I run two businesses. I myself am a wellness travel coach. I specialize in the corporate world. So I help companies with their corporate wellness and their business travel initiatives, concepts like duty of care, risk management, and what that means in terms of well-being for their employees and their business travelers. Think about the before the pandemic and the burnout epidemics that were happening in the workplace and among business travelers. And many of you probably have related to this or used this to inspire your business journey. You've maybe wanted to leave the corporate world uh, to travel, or you quit the 9 to 5 to travel the world. It kind of like a tagline. And I always found that really interesting that travel was what people turn to, because when we think about it, travel is so healing for us in so many different ways, in such personal ways. So I turned my travels around the world. I was a backpacker after university for so long, and I decided to turn my love and knowledge of travel and what it is that I saw as problems in the industries and shortages and create solutions out of it. And so I specialize in the wellness side of travel and transformative experiences. And as I started that business about 4 years ago, I also started the Travel Coach Network, because when I was just a backpacker hopping around the globe, really was I was struggling for a long time to figure out what my career path was. I had a degree in hospitality and tourism management after university, and I was really underwhelmed by the lack of career options. I knew what existed. I knew that you could, work for a hotel or work for an airline or become a travel agent and do bookings. And then as the years went by, there was the rise of social media and the internet. So people were becoming travel influencers and travel bloggers and writers, and none of that resonated with me. I never had interest in booking trips or writing about things. And so I was like, there must be something more. There must be something more. So I struggled for a long time until I realized how I wanted to help people and make an impact with my knowledge of travel. And I decided to become a travel coach. And then I had many people reach out asking me about travel coaching. And so that's when I decided to start the Travel Coach Network at the same time as I was building my travel coaching business. And 4 years later, it turned into an international community of travel coaches and experts that I certify through the Travel Coach Certification Program, which is the only program in the world that exists that's accredited through ICF for travel coaches. And I essentially built what I had wish I had found throughout all those years, trying to figure out my career path. And the main goal is, our purpose is that there's so much more to a travel career than having to book trips or write about travel. Many of you probably have so many other interests and areas of expertise and skills when it comes to travel, but the industry for so long has told you, put into boxes what it is you're able to do with those skills and that expertise and that love of travel. And it's time to break down those walls, especially now when there's no better time than now, when the industry's got a great fresh restart to get creative, get authentic, and really build a travel business that makes you happy, that makes you proud, and really makes a difference in the world in a way that you really care about.
Yeah, that's really cool. And what I really love about this is that idea that you don't have to run a travel business in that traditional way anymore. That it really can be very different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, when people know that I'm in the travel industry or have a travel business, they always automatically think, oh, you book trips, you are or a tour operator or a travel agent. And no, that's not the case at all. Just because you're in the travel industry does not mean that you have to book trips for people. There's so many other terms out there for travel careers and positions. As you think about, even the travel agent industry evolved for the past several years on its own, went from travel agents to travel advisors, to travel designers, travel consultants, travel concierge, because it's adding more depth. The bookings may stay the same, but there's more depth and meaning to getting to know your client. So that itself shows that there's more to a travel career than just booking. There's more that goes into, a person's experience. So within my network of travel coaches, there's so many different types of experts. I have moms who travel with their kids, who give family travel guidance and support for other moms and families. I have people who just teach people how to travel hack. When you think about Points Guy, he was a travel hacker and he decided to focus in business travel and built a massive, massive business. He could have stayed a travel blogger. Yeah. Could he have just booked trips and used his skills in that? Yeah. But he knew there was so much more. And that's the point. There's more that you can do. Think on a bigger scale of what you can do with your knowledge of travel. But that's not always easy. That's not easy for people, especially when you're told, what are my options when I love travel? Well, they're X, Y, and Z. They're very limited, and you have to really do a deep dive into yourself and ask yourself, like, what is it that you care about travel? What is it that you want people to know? What is it that you are excited to talk about? And just because you have the skills to do something does not mean that you have to put it into your business. I have the ability, obviously, to book and plan trips. Do I enjoy doing that? No, I'm not going to do it for my business. Even in my own coaching business.
Yeah.
The same thing with like the travel industry. The coaching industry has put limitations and boxes around what people think they're able to do. Just because you're in the coaching world does not mean that you have to do private coaching sessions. I don't, not at least, well, for my travel coaches, I do with their businesses, but not for my travel coaching business. I work, I scale things. I create something that I can now serve many people or many companies at once. You can think on a bigger scale, but sometimes it takes hearing others' examples or inspiration from others to show that there are new ways to get creative and opportunities out there. So some things to think about are, what are these concepts that are going on in the industry right now? So things like transformative travel, wellness tourism, sustainability, and remote work. These are 4 really hot topics in the industries across hotels, airlines, business travel, corporations. What does it mean? And ask yourself, what does it mean for yourself? And maybe it's a specific area that you are passionate about. I personally am not an expert in sustainable tourism, but I can tell you that there's a lot of companies out there looking for experts to help reassess their initiatives. And that goes down to too, the term of travel coach does not mean that you're just coaching people on how to travel. And that's something that I had to define within growing the Travel Coach Network, because when I started the Travel Coach Network years ago, there wasn't many people or companies or anyone talking about travel coaching, which gave me the opportunity to pave the path. But then as it grew, now you can Google travel coaching, you'll see quite a few other things, articles. Well, they have different definitions, and that's okay. But within the Travel Coach Network, I had to learn I had to define what it meant as a travel coach within that. And honestly, it just means a very broad term of you as a travel expert, you finding your passion, your love, your knowledge of travel and turning it into a business. And it doesn't even mean that you have to start and grow your own business. You can make an impact with your knowledge of travel in a company you already work for. Maybe it looks like redesigning their HR initiatives or their corporate wellness programs or their travel policies or their vacation policies, or helping moms in the workplace, have a better work-life balance and include travel, or, whatever remote work initiatives companies are putting in place, because they all have them. So there's so much that you can do, but it's up to you to do that deep dive. And that's why programs like the Travel Coach Certification Program is there. That is the perfect ingredient to help with that, because not only is there a world of other travel coaches who have such creative perspectives to learn from, but it's also me doing the industry insight that gives the information, gives the trainings, gives the support, and help with the brainstorming, because it's not easy, but I promise that there's so much room for opportunity moving forward in the travel industry, and really can make an impact in a way that's authentic to yourself. But it takes time to figure that out and to learn what that is and to structure it. Create a framework, which is something I teach the members in my network to do, is put structure your ideas, essentially. And it's what that piece of my business is what helped me go from feeling stuck in my own travel coaching business to having clarity, and then being able to scale and reach multiple ideal clients or audiences for myself. Because you don't always have to serve just one person, but you also, in the travel industry, don't need to serve everyone. And you have to put organization and structure to your messaging and how you help people and who it is you help, in order to then scale a business. And because many of you probably have felt stuck before, like you have so many ideas, there's so many things that you can do, you can serve so many people, because it's travel, everyone needs travel. Well, in a business standpoint, that's not going to get you very far anytime soon. You have to narrow it down and get focused, and not necessarily say that you have to niche down, because that's limiting. It just means get very clear on what it is that you help people with and who is it that you help them. And backing that with what I call your pillars of strength. So doing your research. There's so many great articles and webinars and information out there. Research, strengthen your ideas. It's anecdotal to say, I believe travel is, builds relationships. I believe that every parent should travel with their children. That's great, but have evidence to back that up. And it's not that it's research you have to do yourself, but there's so much out there. And it's what I built my wellness travel coaching business off of, by taking time to study the mental, physical, physiological health benefits of travel. So just really opening your eyes to what's going on in the industry and figuring out what direction you want to go in with your business. And that's something that we do within the program to help you identify too, because there's so many ways that you can go and things that you probably never even heard of before. There's a lot of really new kind of categories being opened up within different industries and companies as well, and new things that people care about.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that. Just for instance, I deal with this a little bit on a day-to-day basis, but remote work policies. and travel, that opens an entire can of worms for most companies, because suddenly you have, restrictions on what countries you can do certain things in. And you need to understand, do you have a visa that's actually legitimate for you to do travel tourism and work remotely? Or are you going to get in trouble with the local authorities? And things like, do you have the right network connections? Do you have the right VPN connections? Is the work that you're doing actually okay for you to be doing in this other country? Because if you're doing high tech stuff, believe it or not, the federal government and the feds have all these rules about, encryption data and export of technology and all this stuff. So, I mean, it's just that one thing. You're a high tech company and your workers are now all working remotely. Okay, great. Somebody wants to work abroad. That's a whole like Pandora's box right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have travel coaches within the network as well who specialize in remote workers moving abroad, and even just the readjustment process too. It's not easy to pick up and move. Travel's appealing to almost everyone, but there's a webinar I was watching weeks ago, and they were talking about a study where it said they asked remote workers, if your company allowed you to pick up and move now, would you and your family do that? Would you
Right.
work from anywhere? And they about 70% of them said yes. And it just shows that people are willing and ready to change environments. But as travelers, we know that that doesn't come easy, especially if you're running a business. So how can you help remote workers really thrive in the workplace? And that's something I talk about too within my own travel coaching business for the corporate world. And I'm actually working on an article as we speak on this for a platform, because it's companies are looking for this type of information. And even just the everyday worker, they could just be digital nomads who weren't able to, travel much before. Maybe so many people started businesses during the pandemic as well that never had the opportunity to work abroad. So now, how do they really succeed in their work life? They're traveling. And there's a lot of research that shows that, travel can help improve that.
Right.
Like we said, it really just comes down to you figuring out what path that is, what interests you that you want to do. My main goal within the Travel Coach Network in general is just to empower and encourage anyone who's a passionate traveler with a mindset of having a business or really making a difference with their knowledge of travel, to build something that's authentic and different and outside the box, and is means something to them. Because like I keep saying, there's no better time than now to do that. And if you're someone who's like, well, I'll wait to see what happens in the travel industry, I'm going to wait to hear what's going on, what others are going to do, when borders are going to open. If you truly have a business mindset, that's not the route to go in. And I say that from a place of, I run 2 travel related businesses. My 2 businesses have not been busier than they have been in this past year and a half. Had I had stopped my businesses and said, well, I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the future of travel, we're going to wait and see, instead of getting back to, one of my favorite mentors, David Meltzer, he from the show Elevator Pitch. He loves, one of the things he says that I love is that you need to be more interested than interesting. So open your eyes and your ears, hear what's going on, be a sponge and absorb information versus trying to just put yourself out there, then clarify and then put yourself out there. So I take time when I'm feeling stuck of just seeing what's going on, because you never know where you're going to get inspired. But in a business, and you know this, Haley, there's so much to do, especially behind the scenes and just building a solid foundation, then the pretty part or the fun part of business. So there's work to be done. There's clarification to be made, that it takes time. So really finding a program like the certification program or a network that is going to help you with all of that, building that really solid foundation for your business. So figuring out what is, your area of expertise, for your niche? What what is your messaging going to be? What is your values of your business? What's your strategy moving forward?
Yeah.
Who do you want to serve? How are you going to serve them? What are your short and your long-term goals? These are all really key pieces that people tend to overlook when having a business or starting a business, because, and I promise you, if you jump the gun and you overlook a lot of these really important pieces, you are going to hit a wall at some point. You will get stuck. And then that's what's going to put you behind, because now you got to go back to the drawing board and reassess your brand, reassess your story, reassess your messaging. Is your business going to evolve? Absolutely. Who knew a pandemic was going to happen? That was going to shine a light on new areas in the travel industry in actually a really positive way to incorporate into your business. But it's not about having a full clarity on your whole vision for your business, but having some sort of roadmap in place with some sort of clear direction to go in, and then having a place where you can consistently get that support and get that guidance. And that's why I've made it so meaningful in my business in the travel coach certification program to do ongoing monthly trainings, because there's so many hot topics to stay on top of and to be aware of. Because like I said, you never know what you might be like, oh, that's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm meant to do. That's the direction I want to go in.
Absolutely. And I mean, I see a lot of people who are like waiting for stuff right now. I'm going to wait until stuff clears up. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Waiting until the time is right in business, there's never going to be an exactly right time, ever. Pandemic or no pandemic. And now is actually a really good time to be getting into the travel industry, because things are changing so much that there's a ton of opportunity that wasn't there 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. When we think about travel, it's not a luxury. It's a human need. We've traveled as humans it's innate in us. We've always traveled, and in different ways. Not travel meaning everyone has to get on a plane to go somewhere. We've always traveled to find food. We've traveled to meet people. We've traveled to connect. We've traveled to self-discover, to explore. We travel.
Right.
It's a part of us as people and our lives. So when people were saying during the pandemic, I will wait to see what happens with the travel industry, or the travel's dead and it's not coming back, there's no such thing. Like, we're going to travel to some extent. And that showed it throughout the pandemic. There were different areas of the travel industry that really succeeded. Airbnb, so domestic and local tourism was on the rise. That's still travel. Solo experiences. I was reading an article about a kayak company who said they never had so many individuals sign up for their program to go kayak in groups, because it's a way to stay a safe distance, but yet there were solos. So they changed their marketing towards solo travelers, and they had never done that before. Female solo travelers as well. And now we see things like we were saying, remote workers. And even the whole business travel industry is reshaping too, and adding more purpose and meaning, which are two keywords within the business travel industry: purposeful and meaningful travel. What does that mean for a business trip? Just like we've turned to travel for our own personal reasons, we traveled for business for very important reasons too. More studies show that, you're more likely to close a sale in person, face to face, versus what we do virtually. So travel's a necessity. So like you said, there's no better time than now if you are interested in having a travel business, or if you have a travel business, or you're pivoting your travel business, to really start to get authentic and put some heart into why you have your travel business, not based on what others tell you you should do, or what's lucrative, or what's important in the industry. And that's something that really I struggled hearing often from travel agents or experts or professionals for years, saying, well, I hear it's easy. I can stay from home. I can work from home. And I hear that the luxury segment is lucrative. Well, what is it? Where do you come into that play? Where does your love of travel come into that play? Yeah, it's nice to make money, but when you have a business that is built, you build just to make money,
Mhm.
you will to get, you should never have money as your main point to build a business. It should be because you genuinely have a passion for something, you see a problem you want to solve, or you have been impacted or transformed in your own life and you want to make an impact on others or the world in some way. That's a business coming from heart. Money will come always. And there's so many new revenue streams that you can make and have with a travel business that has nothing to do with commission. In the Travel Coach Network, we're not travel agents. I don't talk about the structure of a travel agency. I talk about getting to know and understand your clients on a more personal level, which is why many travel agents have come into the network, especially this past year, because the marketing and the structure of their business is shifting, and travelers know that, consumers know that why
Mhm.
they travel is different, how they travel is different, and how and who they choose to help with their travel journeys is different. So really learning how to get to know your clients on a really personal level and really assess what it is that they need um, for an experience, or even going a complete other route with your expertise and really making an impact, like I said, on a corporate level or to the masses in some way. You really structure your business
Yeah.
however you want, and I help with that. But there's just so many different avenues to go down. But it really is up to you to figure out what kind of business do you want to build? What do you want to do?
Yeah, and that's a really good point is, the change and then figuring out what it is that you really want. Begin with that end in mind.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I always tell my travel coaches, like, I don't care if you call yourself a travel coach or not. And I'm not here to tell you what kind of business to have, because it's up to you to wake. You're the one waking up every day to work on your business. You're the one waking up every day and putting in the time and effort, and you're the one crafting the messaging from your own experiences. I am here to help pull out of you, what does travel truly mean to you?
Mhm.
Why this industry than any other? And what is it that you want to do with that love and knowledge of travel? And to show you the possibilities and to give you the guidance and the insight of what with the ever changing industry, what is possible, what opportunities are there. And I do that because I wish there was a place for me that I could have gone and done that.
Mhm.
And granted, the industry and time has changed. I started my businesses long before the pandemic. Um, and so there weren't as many opportunities by any means, or platforms that talked about, more sustainable tourism or remote work, transformative travel or wellness travel, stuff like that. So now is the time for you to like reassess what it is you're doing with your business and
Mhm.
how can you sculpt it into one that really gets you excited for the future of travel.
Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. So tell me about the program that you are doing.
Yeah, so I've been running the travel coach certification program for about 3 years now, 3.5 years now. And it is now a certification program through the International Coach Federation. And I chose that because I wanted to make sure that people around the world could get certified through it. So it's accredited internationally, which is different from other accreditation organizations. But I designed it in three main parts. One is, of course, the business aspect, because there's so much to know and to get help on when it comes to just being an entrepreneur, having a business, everything from the logistics of, setting it up to the technical side of things, to the marketing. Um, you're writing your brand story, getting media publicity and spreading the word about your business. I talk about all of that. That's the under the business umbrella. And then, of course, there's the coaching aspect. It's an ICF accredited program, so therefore we abide by the core competencies and the teachings of the International Coach Federation, which really just helps you assess with everything from getting to know your clients, how to do it in a safe environment, how to do it under contracts, all of that fun stuff. And then lastly, how to incorporate your love of travel into a business. And so that is probably one of the main things that sets it apart, because I've had many people, and I've also taken many courses and programs from others when I was learning just the basics of starting a business, but I never found one that focused on talking about my love of travel and the instructor being someone from a world of travel as well. And that's something I wanted to create for others. And so really just diving into what, like I said, everything of what travel means to you, what is your niche, how to use your marketing, your messaging, your storytelling, your experiences to build your travel related business. And it's 9 modules. It's pre-recorded because everyone learns differently. It's also written. And it's spaced out over about 2 months' time. It's a lot of content. Remember, this is a journey that you're on. Your business isn't, I'm not going to bombard you with information and expect you to get it done in a certain time frame. I designed it as an evergreen program because I wanted people to be able to go at their own pace. I've been in other programs myself where there was, you had to consume the content within a certain time frame before it expired or you needed to renew it, or so everyone is on their own journey, and you never know when you're going to get inspired by something. Like I said, who knew a pandemic would open the eyes and minds to all new types of opportunities and ideas for people, and that's exactly what I mean. So it's self-paced, but it's also super cool because every month I hold 2 live trainings. One is we dive deeper into a specific module, and the other one is I just take really hot topics in business, in marketing, in travel. It's things like we'll do a whole session on incorporating transformative travel. We'll do how I do a deep training into getting media publicity. I've been into over 90 something media outlets myself, and using the power of publicity to really help you spread your message of your business. And I always, always, always leave doors open and opportunities to answer questions. I want the members of my program and my network to never feel like they're on their own. So whether it's posting in the Facebook group and getting help from others, getting set up with an accountability partner, or having direct access to me via email or messaging, or during one of the live sessions. There's always room for you to ask questions, get feedback, have opportunities to get help, because I know what it's like to build a business. I turn to mentors throughout so many parts of my business journey in the corporate world. Really amazing industry leaders have helped me, so I incorporate that into my work with my members of the Travel Coach Certification Program because I just find it so valuable.
That's really cool. Yeah, I love it so much because there's so much opportunity out there right now that people just don't even realize is there for the having.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, like I said, it sometimes takes getting exposure into a world of others who have
Mhm.
new ideas, who, have the industry insights, who have the connections and relationships. When I see members of my within my travel coach network, I've seen so many either feature others on their podcasts or connect them with someone else for, an opportunity. I have hotels. That's another beautiful thing about the Travel Coach Network, which I never ever thought that it was going to turn into this, because I was just building what I wish I had in the beginning, but I've had so much interest, and there's so many great things to come, but I've had so much interest in companies and hotels and different brands interested in working with my travel coaches to help create unique experiences and add a layer of depth to their clients and their consumers. So I'll talking more about that soon. Many things in the works, but it just shows that the industries are changing so much that you really can take whatever it is you want to do and make something out of it, because the opportunities are there. It just takes you know, time and exposure to others, or help and guidance within that. So that's something I'm really proud of within the Travel Coach Network.
That is so cool. Yeah, and I posted the link in the comments.
Yeah, I
And
saw. Yeah, so Haley has the link for you, and don't forget, use WEN100 and you can save $100 on the program if you're interested in it. And you can always reach out with, and there you go, with any questions about anything at all. The link that Haley shared, it has all the information on there, the curriculum, what's in the modules. If you have any questions about like it in general, anything, I put as much information on there as I could for the FAQ section and stuff, pretty common questions, but I'm always happy to answer any questions about the program or the network or anything at all for anyone who may be interested. But do let me know that you're messaging me because you saw me on in Haley's network somewhere.
that's pretty cool. Yeah. Cool, guys. Check her out. I mean, this is so cool. I am so stoked, Sahara. This is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, Haley. Yeah, and like I said, Haley and I have been chatting for a while now because I turned to Haley's network when I started my businesses. Before I started the travel coach certification program, I was like, well, I just want a community of women in business. Like, where do I turn to? So that's where I came across Haley's network, and I have benefited so much from it. And I know there's many travel experts out there. So that's why I was like, hey, Haley, let's get together, because I know if I came to your world, there's others who could relate to you where I was in my business too. So I appreciate it, Haley, for letting me give some sort of value to your audience today. And I hope we gave some sort of inspiration or gave a light bulb to members of your audience who love travel.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.